How has the company fared under your watch, and what has changed under Ghana Post?
$1,000,000 question that can be answered in $1,000,000 ways.
I sent a laptop to my children in Kumasi via Ghana Post, and it took them 1 week
When I
and
saw this,
3 days.
I called Amaziba myself.
How would you evaluate the e-commerce market in Ghana?
We are not in a very competitive stage yet.
Is your appeal to government justified?
Many of the couriers, so-called couriers, that some state agencies are giving businesses to, they end up bringing the business for Ghana Post to do.
Who will make the ideal presidential candidate to break the eight?
Ghanaians need to really think about the alternative that they have.
About a year ago, Bice Osei Kuffour, popularly known as Obour, took over the reins of Ghana Post Company Limited as the managing director. His appointment came as a surprise to many Ghanaians, but for him, this was an opportunity to contribute his quota towards turning struggling company into a competitive and profitable entity. 1 year down the line, what changes has his leadership brought to Ghana Post? Has his efforts yielded the desired results, or has his supposed rebranding been a facade, as argued by his critics? My guest for tonight is the Managing Director of Ghana Post Limited, Bice Osei Kuffour. You are watching The Hard Truth. My name is Nana Akosua Samuels. I know. Good to have you on The Hard Truth.
Nice for me to be on The Hard Truth.
How many months?
Oh, come on.
I
know behind the scenes.
But you need to understand that. Quite carved by But thank you so much for being here. It's been about a year since you took over as the MD for Ghana Post.
Yep.
You came with a lot of optimism. And how has the company fared under your watch, and what has changed under Ghana Post?
Okay, so that's a $1,000,000 question that can be answered in $1,000,000 ways. Okay, so just like you put it, Ghana Post is one of the old horses. As a state institution, been around, been there, done that from the 18s through and through. I took over Ghana Post in 2022, and that was when the organization was going through a lot of transitions. I mean, you know where we are in technology now. I mean, the actual work of the post, which used to be a major source of communication, a major link, connecting people, delivering parcels for people, letters, cards. These days, technology has just had its best share of the postal activity. So the postal work has transformed itself. To be active and to be competitive, you need a lot more for the post to remain vibrant. And so Ghana Post has been in that transition. Some of my predecessors started a great job. And so when I went in, it was continuing on that transformational path and ensuring that you keep making the post relevant in the everyday life
making the
of every
post
Ghanaian.
relevant, it's been always there's been complaint of from the public about the inefficiency of Ghana Post to do delivery to the postal addresses. Complaints include the postal inability or the post's inability to sometimes deliver posts within stipulated time, missing parcels, among others.
Sure.
There were expectations that you would curb these practices, but this hasn't changed under your watch, has it?
I mean, it's a journey and it's a work in progress. So within the postal setup, there are different products. So Ghana Post is the national designated operator. Now, in the post, there's ordinary mail, there's express mail, there's priority mail, there's parcel service, and several other services. Aside that, then there's also the usual private letterbox operations. So just to speak to your question, there are standards of postal deliveries. So for instance, if you post an EMS item, which is an express mail service, depending on where the item is going to. So we have zones. So for instance, in Ghana, we have zone 1, zone 2. And then we have the furthest when it has to go, for instance, there's a zone 3, there's a zone 4. If the item is in the zone 1, then it's always within 24 hours. And that's a promise we stay true to. Which
areas are zone 1?
So zone 1 is from the capital city. So if you are mailing items from Accra to the southern sector, to the northern sector, but
so Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, that's 24 hours.
Yes. So within the zone 1s, then there's the zone 2s, which goes within some of them. So depending on the zone you are sending an item to, our brand promise is 24 to 72 hours. If
it's indeed 24 to 72 hours, why do we hear veteran
so that's what I'm
broadcaster and entertainer critic Amanziba Smith, he said, let me quote what he said exactly. I think this was somewhere in August 2022. He said, and I quote, I can confidently tell you that the VIP parcel service is more efficient than Ghana Post. Compare the two, and you realize that Ghana Post is not as efficient as portrayed. I sent a laptop to my children in Kumasi via Ghana Post, and it took them 1 week and 3 days to deliver it. Again, within the zone 1. And then he said, in fact, that whatever you are doing as a managing director of Ghana Post was just for a cameras and was not real worker. So again, coming back to zone 1.
Yeah, so when I saw this, I called Amanziba myself. I asked him to send me the tracking number of the items he sent. It took 2 weeks, no tracking number came. We actually reported this matter to the police. So the police called him to bring the tracking number of the item he sent. Then later, there were calls from different people saying he can't find the tracking number. Long story short, there was no item.
So he lied.
I don't know.
What would he gain?
I don't know. I don't know. So that's the
and I have this on record that you know.
Yeah. So if you do send an item through EMS service, for example, what he was saying it was an EMS service, and it actually stays longer than the time. Sometimes, yes, there are times that, irrespective of your delivery timelines, you may have a challenge. But we have compensation policies for such items. So because there's all around the world. You may send an item, there may be, for instance, things going abroad. You have a certain timeline within 7 to 10 days. It delays because maybe there was challenge, the flight didn't move. There are compensational models. So if you go through the item, every item you send, you're given the tracking number. So if you can't provide your tracking number for an item, then maybe there was no item.
I see, but again, we have critics who also
but that's so. If you benchmark with what people are saying without necessarily delving into the matters, because yes,
are you aware? Let me not even say what people are. Are you aware that there's been tampering with parcels?
Yes,
you're aware of that.
Yes,
I know one of your core values at Ghana Post is integrity.
Yes.
So how have you pursued this value since you came to office?
So
what measures have you taken in place?
Since before I took office, our incidences of pilfering was around about 4%. So of every 100 meals that were processed, you may say 4 of them or 3 of them had a challenge. And when they say challenge tempered meals, you see, people tend to not understand the whole value chain of a meal. So when somebody sends an item from the US, I go to USPS, I post a parcel, it's a phone. I leave it there. They give me a tracking number. This item will be moved from USPS depending on the airline partner they are working with. And for a long time, they were working with Royal Air Maroc. Royal Air Maroc will move the items from New York or wherever their terminal is to Morocco. Now, at Morocco, they have to switch flights. It will be worked on by different mail processes. Sometimes they don't even bring it the same day. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks, depending on the service, again, this person who sent a parcel paid for.
But you know all these things.
So let me try and land. So sometimes when we receive the parcel in Ghana, it's already tempered. But the international standards set by the Universal Postal Union is that when somebody a parcel is destined to a receiver, irrespective of it being tempered or not, send it to the receiver. Let the receiver say, I won't take the parcel, I reject it. Then there's a form, there's a C41 form that the receiver now has to fill. Then we send this parcel back. And then wherever, because in pilfering, at every point, the item is weighed. So an item is written on the parcel that is 14 kg. By the time it got to Ghana, it is now 10 kg. Then it means 4 kg of the item is missing. So we must find where that 4 kg got missing. So people end up thinking, because I received my item and something was not in it, Ghana Post people took it. No, the
fault is not with Ghana
Post. That's not the situation.
It happened before it got there.
But yes, Ekrobia Mensahum, there may be some, there have been instances where we have found some Ghana Post personnel being culprits in such instances. But again, now, since I took office, there's CCTV in all our mail rooms, there's CCTV in our transshipment office. We have intensified our security, and currently, our pilferage rate is being reduced to less than 1%.
That's interesting.
And so there is progress. There's progress. We keep moving stuff because, again, when you give people room, no matter the standards, no matter the integrity, we live in a certain part of this world that people sometimes just are difficult. But since I took office, we've sacked 3 people, not because they pilfered, but because a parcel stayed with them longer than it was supposed to stay. So once you receive a parcel, you're supposed to dispatch it tomorrow. It has to go to the recipient. If that parcel stays with you 1 day, 2 days, it's possibly because you are trying to find a way around the parcel to see whether you can do something. People have lost their jobs because they delayed. So there's been
progress.
Yes, let's not.
Less than 1% is quite encouraging. But you spearheaded a number of initiatives, including the Vals on Wheels, promoting Vals Day. It's coming on this year too, I guess. Fantastic. The Scooter Home Parcel Service, the new fleet of vehicles and all that. These interventions were obviously to increase the business volumes of the company, concentration on the shuttle, service.
Parcel drive, parcel service.
Right.
You're quite on top of Ghana.
I know, but what has been the progress since the launch in August 2022?
Okay, so
what were the targets and have you met them?
Okay, so luckily we made our target for 2022. We actually went above our target by 6%.
Tell us, how much did we make in 2022?
So Ghana Post, as a company, I think our target for 2022 was 96 million or so.
Ghana cedis.
Yeah, and then we made about 400 and something like that. But then as a company, we shouldn't lose track of the fact that we are coming from somewhere very, very.
But this is not
difficult.
Profit, right? This is
no, this is not. This is revenue. This is not profit. We are not. Ghana Post is not making profit. We are not making profit, and there are reasons why we are not making profit. We are a subsidized service. So, for instance, I'll give you a typical example. In April, every year, we have to negotiate with the Postal and Courier Regulation Commission on our rates. So, for instance, we pegged for the beginning of 2022, our dollar was pegged at 6.5. And so that's how much we are allowed to charge for the dollar. Before this can change, you need to write back to the Postal and Courier. They need to sit, meetings has to be held. So in September, when due to forces beyond anybody's control, the dollar was skyrocketing to 4 to 14, 15. Ghana Post was still charging 6.5 because that's what has been earmarked in our system for the dollar. So definitely you are going to have challenges because we are running a universal service and the organization was not made specifically for profit making. It was made to provide a service, a certain universal service, so that people can communicate to each
Bice,
other.
I mean, I'm confused now. You wanted to turn Ghana Post into a dividend-paying institution.
Yes, that's the vision.
How has that turned out? Because you're saying something different now. Will Ghana Post be paying dividend to the government for the 2022 financial year?
No, we won't. But I would definitely, Ghana Post will pay dividend to government 2023, 2024. Because you see, things have to change. So again, like I said, we are moving the organization from a certain culture to a new culture. Now we're bringing in a lot of technology. Now we've launched our e-commerce platform, where with our e-commerce platform, which is our Photoshop, our post shop, we are integrating with several other businesses to provide delivery services on our app. We are using enterprise services now. So now at the post, people can testify now. People no longer have to walk to the post office to pay for their letter boxes. Now you can just dial *447 *160 hash and you pay for your letterbox. You buy your University of Ghana forms, you buy your KNUST forms, you buy several services that Ghana Post is providing. So we are on a certain journey. Now we are looking at it. This year we'll be launching our new parcel service, which is the Speed Link. And it will be an app that you can just request, hail a delivery or a pickup.
Let's look at this. Now, generally, how would you evaluate the e-commerce market in Ghana, and where does Ghana Post fit in all this?
So the e-commerce market is booming in Ghana. I mean, let me expand it to Africa. I mean, in Africa, I think in 2022, there was around 16 million, or I've forgotten the figures. But it's a very, very booming market that Ghana is tapping into. Currently, there's Speedaff in Ghana that's doing a lot of e-commerce. There's Kiku, there's Jumia, several e-commerce platforms. Now, that is an area where deliveries have gotten into. So it's an area where Ghana Post, we are looking at playing a role in the entire value chain, from warehousing of items, creating the platform to package, platform to deliver, store, till it gets to the final consumer. We are not in a very competitive stage yet. Currently, we are not, because that had not been our focus. And it's something that I am putting a lot of energy into.
Why? Because Ghana Post obviously has the logistical and human resource advantage to take the firm grips, over the many opportunities that exist in the e-commerce space in the country. So why aren't you getting the desired results?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's become a focus, because when you sit at an organization, there are a series of projects you want to embark on. For instance, this year, 2023, e-commerce is one of our flagship areas we want to drive into. In 2022, that wasn't a focus. If you look at all the activities we did last year, we never really earmarked that this area is where we are driving our efforts to, because again, you need to strategize, and based on your strategy, you work with your strategy. And 2023 is a year that we have e-commerce, because to do e-commerce well, you need warehousing. We don't have that adequate warehousing yet. So this year we are setting up a warehouse. Once we have the warehousing, then you can actually let's say we partner, let me just open it up. Let's say we partner one major distributor, one major producer. We stock their items in all our different warehouses, so that we already have the item. So when the person
stock items wherever you want, but not many people seem to know about your e-commerce platform, www.postshop.com.gh.
Yes, because we haven't we haven't gone to market.
How are you doing in terms of subscription and the transaction volumes?
So currently, even for us, not getting loud on our e-commerce platform.
Why aren't you getting loud?
Because you see, we shouldn't be in a hurry to rush into things. You need to take things one step at a time. If we rush, for instance, I'll give you an example. Vals on Wheels. We wanted to do, after we did Vals on Wheels, we wanted to do something in December, but we didn't, because the kind of subscription we got for Vals on Wheels, it stretched us. I mean, we ended up, people were making orders and we had no riders. People were making orders, we had no way to dispatch them because we had been outstretched. And so, same with our e-commerce. We want to provide a service where when you order on our e-commerce platform, maximum 2 to 3 days, we should be able to deliver to you. Now, when we go to market and let's say 1,000 people are subscribing today, they want their item, we don't have the capacity.
So now Val's Day is just weeks away. So have you strengthened the department? Are we going to have more of that?
Yes, we are. We've been working on it over the past year. And so we've grown. So for instance, I'll give you an example. In the head office, our department, that was the Speedlink department, which do our pick and drop. It used to be 25 riders. We've increased it to 75 riders. So and people just have to understand that this is an old organization.
Only?
Yes, we are growing.
Only?
That's
from 25 to
150%.
Yeah.
It's actually 200%.
That's something.
So, and don't forget, Ghana Post is entirely internally generated, funded organization. Government doesn't give a dime to the organization. All government has done for Ghana Post is when there was the separation of Post and Telecom. Ghana Post, I gave you this infrastructure, run, pay your staff.
That's it.
And we have quite some staff. I mean,
what's the total number?
Ghana Post is quite one of the high employment.
And they're all working, doing what exactly?
And again, we are a government business. And so
are they all,
because profit,
are they all being efficient? It's just that they need jobs, so they are just there.
I believe strongly.
What is the total number? Give me a number. The total
I
staff.
think if I put my casuals, my permanents together, contracts, we're hitting 2,000 plus.
And these are all like efficient staff.
I mean, again, that's an HR matter. It's also another.
That's
discussion.
an MD matter.
It's an HR.
Matter, but
it's an HR matter that also requires.
So from where you said,
we
see, downside, right sizing. They call it this year.
We've put in series of measures. I mean, typical government work. It's not ideal. Already we have unemployment issues in our country, and so. The best thinking is not to lay people off. Yeah. But the best thinking is to increase revenue, get more jobs, get people to be busy, so that everybody.
But people can be busy and they won't do anything. They are just there. I'm just busy for nothing.
That's our responsibility. That's our responsibility to make sure that people are put in the right place. And we're doing some creative things. We are not hiring when people go on retirement. We're doing some creative things to reduce. And it used to be more. Ghana Post used to have 3,000 plus workers, but every year the staff.
But you have to look at this before we go for you. You have to look at it. If there are 2,000 already, they are not being efficient. I think you have to lay some of them, and then make sure that.
Laying off anywhere in the world. It's not an easy task to lay people off.
That's why you are the MD.
Yes, so to lay people off.
So you're still watching The Hard. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Hard Truth, MD for Ghana Post Company Limited by Osei Kuffour.
I'm still in the building.
Anyway, but you stated...
And I think we're having a great chat.
I know. But you stated in, I think, an interview on Joy News in April 2022 that you wanted to capture 50% of the courier and delivery market.
Yeah.
quite ambitious.
Very.
Yes, but what have you achieved so far in relation to this target?
So we've not had
what is your
we've not had another survey yet, so I can't tell. But I think we're doing much more than we were doing. Just like I told you earlier, we had to increase our riders because the delivery requests were quite high. So I'm sure maybe by first quarter, what we do, we put out a steady again and.
No, but you know, to achieve something of this magnitude, or you need to put certain things in place. So what timelines are you working out with?
Already we have.
What's the strategy? I'm interested.
Already we have a certain percentage of the courier market that we want to grow, so that we can capture 50% of the courier market. We are doing more strategic partnerships, and so if you look, we have some relationship with even some of our perceived competitors, because within the post.
Perceived? Why would you say that?
I mean, so in the post, really, competition is complementary. When I say competition is complementary, let me give you an example. Somebody will go to DHL, post an item to somewhere in Ghana. If DHL checks the day that item has been posted, if they don't have a vehicle or a truck going, they will bring the item to Ghana Post. Ghana Post will go and deliver it, still for DHL. Same way somebody will mail an item to Germany. If I think my airline partner is not flying, I'll take it to DHL. So it's on the outside, it's perceived that we are heavy competitors, but we actually work together. We do this with Speed-Up, we do it with Jumia, we do it with some of the people who are all courier companies also. So the more we're able to create partnerships with other courier, we are increasing our dominance in the market, because then we become one of the major forces who are actually doing the deliveries. Besides that, okay, go ahead.
You also believe that one of the safest way to resuscitate Ghana Post is, for governments to channel all state businesses to the company. You've made an appeal to the president, to the vice president. Now, the president directed the Minister for Communication to take the request to government and action. So what has been the outcome for this so far?
So we've put together a cabinet memo. It's yet to be presented at cabinet. And it is our hope that this will go through. I mean, if we don't get all, and we even get 50% of all government businesses, because you see, the post is providing a universal service obligation. So unlike all the other couriers, they can charge whatever they want to charge. If they have an office that is making a loss, they can close it.
Okay,
let me explain a bit.
Right.
Yeah, let me explain a bit on the universal service obligation. So, by law, the post is supposed to keep an office within every 25 mile radius, by law. And so, if I have an office at Gaso and I have an office at Konongo, and my Gaso post office is not making profit, and so I probably maybe wanted to close it, I can't. I have to keep my staff, continue operating it, whether I'm making losses or I'm making profit. You have to. And so that is why such an appeal to government is in order, because all around the world, certain government services are dedicated only to the post. For instance, in Ghana, there's a law that says any item that is 100 grams, and that's like posting a card, posting a simple A4 paper, it's the reserve for the post. But you have several competitors coming into this space. So all these are things we need to enforce.
Sir, but the portions of government business that Ghana Post receives monthly constitute about just 3%. Of the total revenue. Many state agencies obviously prefer to use private postal and courier service because they are more efficient and more effective. So now, is it fair, Bice?
It has nothing to do with efficiency.
Hold your horses. Is it fair to force them to do business with you just because you are, a government agency? No, what of quality? What of efficiency? What of customer needs? What of preference?
Yeah, so our appeal is not based on just the fact that because we are government, but because we are efficient. Because we are very efficient. Because that's why I'm saying that's why I gave you that's why I gave you the example that many of the couriers, so-called couriers, that some state agencies are giving businesses to, they end up bringing the business for Ghana Post to do.
Yes, so
and that is on record.
But the first time was to go to them because there's a trust that they're going to deliver the service for them.
So, and how do you become even more efficient? You become efficient when you have the right businesses, because based on the businesses that you have, then you have more revenue. You can invest in systems. Then you get more efficient.
But you know what you're saying? It's like going to STC and telling them that, or STC Akomia going to the president and saying, please tell all government agencies not to use VIP and these other local buses. Sorry, private. It's the same thing here.
It's not because
it's like you just want the word to be handed over to you freely.
No, because when government individuals are traveling, they travel on their own as individual. But of course, Akomia can say that if government organizations are hiring buses to transport their workers to
government organizations can come to you because they know that Ghana Post is super efficient. They don't have to go through any channels.
I mean,
no communication. A communicator must detect and force them to come to you.
That's why I give you the example that efficiency comes. You build it over time.
Exactly.
You do one thing over.
Have you done that?
So if that's what we are doing. And when a business, for instance, there are several businesses that over the years Ghana Post lost, which we are winning back because of efficiency. So, for instance, this national service delivery of certificates. I mean, don't forget, we acknowledge the fact that Ghana Post had some really bad times. And so, yes, there were times that we were the only people selling police.
Let me just take you, not just 5 or 6 years ago. Let me just take you back in August, last year. The Chronicle newspaper published an article where they indicated that it took Ghana Post 12 days to deliver a letter from EPA to Chronicle inviting them for a workshop. By that time, they received the letter. I think the program had already passed. So with this kind of record again, is your appeal to government justified?
Okay, so
and they're still within zone one.
Let me speak on that particular issue. So you see, when these things come out, it's unfortunate, but we had a meeting with Chronicle on this. Our delivery person there had been 7 delivery attempts. You see, so because
attempts, what does that mean?
When they say delivery attempt means the person came to the place, there was nobody. The person called the number was off. So when we had meetings, I mean, they understood it, of course. At the end of the day, there's an apology that must be rendered. We rendered an apology based on the fact that there were some lapses on our part. And also, but these things, when they come up, you cannot have 100% super proof. So yes, here you are talking about one incident that happened with Chronicle. How about the thousands?
There are several. How about
the thousands of deliveries? Because it was, again, that same program, it was about 60 letters. We delivered all of them. The only one we had a challenge with was Chronicle. So yes, I mean, with deliveries, even your super delivery agency that you think has all the mandates and has all the power, they also have lapses because it's people doing this work. So periodically, once in a while, we may have a challenge. Once in a while, you may have a challenge.
Once in a while, you must be on top like that.
We are on a journey to grow. We are mechanizing most of our operations. We are using more of technology. So now with our new delivery app, let me say this. With our new delivery app, when an item is dispatched to a rider and the item was not delivered, the app itself will prompt the superiors that this item was dispatched, but it wasn't delivered. So then now the superior will now engage further. We are also setting up an emergency delivery team who we are grooming to understand an area. So sometimes there are really terrible deliveries because you see, to deliver well, you must have good addressing. Sometimes people write addresses that you would follow the map, you follow the Ghana Post GPS, and it just takes you to a school park. And there's a phone number, you are calling the phone number, it's off. How do you deliver?
So what? So,
how do you deliver?
So that makes the address. There's a challenge in our address system,
so,
right?
So
are you saying no?
Yeah. So I'm just saying some of these things.
Are you saying don't rush it? Are you saying there is a challenge in our address system, our digital address system?
No, there's a challenge in people writing their address. People, do you know your digital address? Your home digital address. A lot of people, when they have to write their home digital address, they probably have to call somebody at home to look and say GA3 something for them. Because people are, but that is your digital address. So sometimes people write wrong addresses because they are not certain. But when you do that, you are giving the delivery person a challenge. So when the item now takes 3 days because the delivery man has gone to the address you wrote on the paper,
not your fault.
He didn't find it.
That's not your fault.
But they will put it out, and then somebody will read it and say, Ghana Post took 12 days to deliver, without knowing all the nitty-gritties of the matter.
Okay, but now there are a lot of Ghana Post offices across the country which are abandoned or closed down. The economic assets, that are left to rot or encroached by squatters. How serious of a concern is this to you as a person, and what are the efforts?
Okay, so this is valid. This is valid, very true. Again, in the past, when the Post was set up, the Post was everybody's bank. It was everybody's information center. It was everybody's go-to place.
It was a monopoly.
Yes. Okay, so even in my district, Asante Achim South, we had a post office in Grasso, a post office in Bompata, a post office in Bogu, and a post office in Ofuase. These towns are like 10 miles apart each other. And so they were all operational. Currently, the only one that's operational is the Grasso post office. Because now in Grasso, there's commercial bank, there's rural bank. But in the past, all the cocoa farmers would take their money to Bogu Bank, Bogu Post Office, because that was like the bank. So yes, there are some post offices that even though it's a good edifice, you can't operate because again.
Well, but the Auditor General report indicated that Ghana Post did not have legal title to some of these properties.
Yeah, but the title
hence
is
the
not
encroachment. Right. The report also commented on the lack of commitment on your part, of management to secure the lands and look at it again as a company to even register them and have ownership.
So in the past, again, all these things happened because
I don't know if you've done something about. Have you done anything about it?
Yeah, I mean, we are working on regularizing a lot of our paperwork in the post offices that we are operating. But some of them, maybe the community will write to the den. So a typical example, I'll give a typical example is Bogu. That's where I come from. The community themselves wrote to the post that we have set up this place. Come and run a post office for our town. Because post office is a prestige. To have a post office in your community, to have a post office in your town, because that time, the post, like I said, is a major way of sending information. Now there's telephones, everybody has a mobile phone, so know how many people are posting letters, how many people are... But
Paga is a commercial area, no?
Yeah, but...
Exactly, but it's just redundant, it's just there.
No, because Paga post office...
The Ejusu post office.
Ejusu post office is extremely active. Ejusu post office, we've done a renovation. Now Ejusu post office, it has Fidelity Bank. So again, some of them, when you close it down to renovate, to look for the right partnership so that the post office can be viable. Because to operate any post office, you need the postman or postmaster, you need the sorting people, you need the front office. So for any post office to operate, you are talking about 3 people. Salary for 3 people. So if that, for instance,
you have over 2,000 people. Do you transfer them? So why don't you bring some of these? Do you do transfers in Ghana?
We do transfers.
So you don't need to hire new people. You have the men already.
No, but how? When you transfer, the people they are still working.
Yeah, so it's not like new people. These are all people you are paying them. So you are not going to get new. You're not using new money.
But that's why I told you that in the past, the post had more than 3,000 employees. Now we are inching in 2,000 and descending. And the plan is to descend until we get to about 500, where we can easily use more technology to work.
So yes, you downsized this year.
We don't lay people off, but when people go on retirement, we don't hire to replace.
How many people go on retirement every year?
Ghana Post, we have, because of our numbers, last year we had 88 people going on retirement.
One of the as against 2,000. Anyway,
that's how much percent?
One of the priority areas of Ghana Post that you wanted to focus on was its people, and when I heard, I was so happy. You wanted to work on the people to make sure they are more productive. What has gone into this, and I want to know the results.
So there's been series of projects we've done. We worked with Ernst & Young to develop a new performance management system. In the past, people were promoted based on the fact that they had been working 10 years, 15 years. Now promotion is based on assessment. We've put together a scheme of service that determines where you can go to from where. All that is being put so that you can get the best out of the people. And we are seeking professional advice to make sure that this is done well. Again, Ghana Post has a very vibrant union. And the union management relations, we are growing. And now we have created time with the MD where staff can now, through their union, have access to engage with the managing director. Because we want...
That's you.
The managing director. So it is, I've been in that seat for a year.
Yeah.
And if I look back, it feels like I've been there for 3 years.
But again, going back to the issue of encroachment, can't you lease out these buildings for?
Well, if you don't
rent them out,
but if you don't have the lease, how do you lease it out?
You don't have the lease.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. A lot of our post offices is a town saying sometimes they even built it. They've built the community and say post office, post office will your crew. Me post office will me crew. Sometimes the MP, for instance, currently, Kojo Upon Kruma is working with us to get a post office in Ofuasi Agrebi. It's an office that he is setting up. And then the post office will go and man it. So tomorrow, if Kojo Upon Kruma is no longer interested in running this project, somebody will sit and say, hey, the post office their office there, but nobody knew the genesis. And so a lot of the post offices that the Auditor General probably is saying that post office has...
These are individual properties.
The post office doesn't even own them.
You're still watching The Hard Truth. Do stay. You're still watching The Hard Truth. Bice, Osei Kuffour, MD for Ghana Post Company Limited is still here. Bice, I hear the Kokompe land belongs to Ghana Post. Is that true? First of all, is it true?
So the Bubuashi cable and
exactly
wireless, it's a bigger area. So it was for Ghana Post and Vodafone. So not Vodafone, so Ghana Post and Ghana Telecom. It was an area that was acquired for them to build accommodation for the staff. So it's quite a huge area. If you put the two together, it's about 100 acres.
But people are encroaching on the land, so what are you doing about it? And it's been like a long time, for years.
So when they acquired it, they've actually built Ghana Post. Some of Ghana Post staff live there. So the idea was to build flats for all staff, so that the staff, because for Ghana Post, in my head office alone, I have about 650 workers. Some are living far off, So it started, but again, once the company became moved away from government into a company where it has to generate its own revenue, we are not even making money enough for ourselves to run our operations alone, start building, property. So, and because of it's been encouraging, 2018, there was a move. Ghana Post partnered a developer. We were going to develop the entire space. We had support from the military. We moved the squatters. Unfortunately,
but you're still there.
Yes. So unfortunately, the investment didn't come. And of course, once you move them, gradually one comes, two comes, because then we actually paid money to AMA to even provide protection with the police. But over the time, they've come back. This year, we are going strongly on that project. We have another investor who had been working with Ghana Post on this since 2018. We are through now. We've gone through most of our processes, and so this year.
So they should advise themselves.
This year, we started having meetings with the squatters. Some of them have started moving nicely. Especially from the Ghana Post side, because again, there's a side that's for Vodafone, and there's a side that's for Ghana Post, and there's a side for some of the Adludia owners. But the Ghana Post side, we are developing it. This year we are starting, and so it is something that I think the Ghana should. I mean, that's a beautiful area, but it has become something else now. It's an eyesore now. We need to get some of our staff to stay there, and of course, with the partner, let us also be
for
able
free,
to
or they'll be paying something for it.
No, even the staff that are living in our cottages, they pay, but it's
small,
reasonable. It's a reasonable rent.
On the Ghana Post address or digital addressing system, many new districts and regions had not been properly calibrated into the digital address. You have?
We have done it.
But I remember the minister was asked to do that for the new districts. So what has been the progress on this?
So the digital addressing system started when Ghana had 10 regions. So you did the whole job. You did it finished. And then by government instrument, additional 6. Now some districts have moved from a different region. And so we had to re-engineer it, redemarcate it. But it was completed last year.
Oh, great.
And now it's been
some
aligned.
Interesting stuff.
If you go onto the stuff, if you go onto the page, now everything is aligned. But again, there's something I should say, which is a good opportunity to clear the air. So when the project started, Ghana Post was in charge of the address plates in people's homes. But along the line, a cabinet memo was passed that the district assemblies and LUPSA, which is the local plan, they should add street names and house numbers to it. So then they moved the whole project from Ghana Post. So now people keep coming to Ghana Post that the number on my house is, we are no longer for the whole of 2022, we were not doing that job. We actually put a pause on it in 2021.
So who's doing that now?
It's the district assembly, the municipal assemblies. They are working on that together with LUPSA. They still rely on the digital address that Ghana Post created to generate it.
Okay.
So if people have issues on this,
they should go to them.
They should go to them.
But the State Interest and Governance Authority announced that their digitalization KPIs will be introduced into performance contracts of state enterprises. What has been the level of engagement between SIGA and Ghana Post on development? And are you confident of meeting these KPIs?
Yeah, we are. SIGA is doing a great job. And since my ambassador Boatin took over, they are on the ball. Like, there's not a week that I don't receive a correspondence from SIGA. They are on us. And we've had a series of meetings on meeting the KPIs. The digitalization is something that's already a KPI for us as a company ourselves. So even without SIGA, with Big Brother extending that hand, it's something.
What are your targets? I want to know in 24 this year.
I mean, we've already digitalized all our. So we have 320 post offices that are still operating. When I say operating, some are letterbox post office. When you say letterbox post office, means the post office has letterboxes that people service them. So maybe when you go there, you won't find anybody to post anything for. or they have a day, maybe only Wednesdays or Tuesdays. That's when the postman comes. But they are letterbox offices. So we have about 20 of them.
I see.
And then we have about 300 more operating. Out of these 320, last year, we had already digitalized 150. Last year, we were able to digitalize another 50. This year, as part of our plans, and we're working on something with the help of the World Bank, when all things being equal, we will be able to digitize all 320 post offices, and also all of them will also have high-speed internet connectivity.
That's
and so
interesting.
it's active.
Let's move on to your political ambition. You contested in the 2020 NPP parliamentary primaries, I think, for Asante Achim South constituency, am I right? In the Ashanti region. You lost by 64 votes. Will you be contesting again when nominations are?
As to whether I'm going to contest for 2024, I think it's a bit too early. We are just entering 2023. The elections is not until March next year or so. I think it's
early days.
And,
I see.
And there's a lot of work for me at Ghana Post. And I think
your concentration is there right now. Can the NPP break the 8 in 2024?
Oh, the 8 has been already broken. Yeah, the 2024. I mean, you see, for any...
You've broken the 8 already?
Yeah, because for anybody...
What does that even mean?
Let me help you. For anybody who's making an assessment of a situation, you need to look at how you are able to come out of problems. So I'll start with COVID. COVID-19 was a major bomb to everybody everywhere in the world. The US struggled with it. Their president then struggled terribly with it. It was same in the UK. It was same in Italy. Close to millions, hundreds of thousands of people died. How did we manage it in Ghana? Brilliant. Look at the losses from COVID-19. Yes, the problem will come.
And then the aftermath of COVID, what happened?
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
Three times.
I'm coming to a journey.
Whatever. I'm
listening. So a problem will come, but look at how people are able to manage themselves out of the problem. Fast forward. Yes.
How are people managing themselves?
I'm coming.
Do you live in Ghana at all?
I'm coming. I haven't even made my point.
No, but because your point is going like you're not being.
So I live in Ghana.
Are you being truthful to Ghanaians right now?
So I told you what happened even with my organization that I had, Ghana Post. So my interest is problems happen. Doomsday happened. Problems happen all the time. But depending on the government of the day, when the problem happened, how do we solve
your government? So are you saying that your government is solving the issues?
Are we
and
not?
Based on that, are they solving the issues?
Are we not?
Are you looking at me right now and telling me government is solving the issues? Do you live in Ghana at all?
You see, challenges come. I'm coming.
Do you live here?
I'm coming. Currently, we are going through a difficult time, and it's not a Ghana limited problem.
So
I have people who have investments in UK that are going through reschedulement. So the fact that the government is launching a policy or launching a program where there's a debt exchange program is only for us to survive. Germany went through this. There were years that Germany as a country...
Do you have money locked there?
Yes, I do. And I think if you love your country,
in the interim, what will I eat? What would my family depend on?
Sometimes when I talk about this, I get a bit emotional because it's not that some of us are more patriotic than some people, but there was a time in the struggle of Germany where Germans went to work and received no pay, and it went on for years for them to build their economy. If it is a crisis that has hit us as a country.
So we should keep quiet and endure it.
I'm not saying keep quiet. Let's work together.
How working together? Someone is just loading something.
Let's not just...
I don't want to talk about the debt restrictions. I won't be go there. Who will make the ideal presidential candidate to break the 8? Let's not talk about it.
No, again, it's still very early. I mean,
how is it?
These are early days. I mean, you're asking me... I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not a prophet.
But you've heard names. So from where you sit again, like, oh, this person, Diasumesi, will help us break the age. Who will that person be?
No, so I haven't. I've been too busy with Ghana Post that I haven't had the time to really do the full. And again, these are names. Has any of them picked nominations?
I don't know. No.
Some of them would, with when I was contesting, when I was going for my MP, there were names that we were scared of. But when the time came, they said, "Oh, my boss said I shouldn't contest again," and this one said and so if you had made plans, you had thought about them. So I think it's early days. Let's wait. Let the nominations open. Let's see the people who picked the nominations. Let's assess them. We would come up with somebody who is solid enough to take off from where Nanado left off, and then we will be on the path. I think Ghanaians need to really think about the alternative that they have and weigh the alternative. Because you see, like I'm saying, problems come, problems happen. We are bound to face problems in life.
Then you have the men to handle it.
When the problems come, how did this government deal with the problems as against how the
So you're saying you have the men to handle it?
I think Ghanaians should give her the chance.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really want to have this again.
Oh, that would be great. That's it for tonight. I've been speaking to Bice, Osei Kuffour, the Managing Director of Ghana Post Company Limited. Now, are you impressed with his performance as MD? Share your comments on our social media pages on your screen. Catch a repeat of the program on Saturday at 2 p.m. You've been watching The Hard Truth. We are proudly brought to you by Enak Studios. Now, for all your production needs, look no further. Do you need a secure and quiet space to build your studio set or your own set? Are you looking for a studio with office setups, police station setups, kitchen setups, among others? Then Enak Studios is a place for you to go. Locate Enak Studios at Kwabinya. My name is Nana Akosua Konadu. Have a good evening.